One.
You're very
Hey. We're live.
Hey guys, welcome to Bollox. I don't even know if Lenny understood what your countdown meant, Blake. It's time for Bollox Talks and Tangents. It's 6:34 here in St. Augustine. We're excited to see you. We're doing cartoons. We're not doing just cartoons. We're doing weird cartoons, strange cartoons, villains in cartoons. We're doing the obscure cartoons. Like you said, you called me Dennis Miller on this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You got cartoons that I've never even heard of, let alone seen.
Yeah.
I went a little bit old school but mainstream because there's some classics in mine.
The only one you shouldn't have heard of is Yuck.
Who's the next one down? And the next one down?
You've never heard of Captain Caveman?
No.
Oh my gosh! Lenny, I'm so disappointed in you right now. All right, well, we got an amazing show coming to you.
Captain Underpants.
We have some word origins. We'll probably get off on some type of tangent at some point.
I'm here.
Well, just that's what we do best. And today, our whiskey of the week is coming from us from the St. Augustine Distillery. It is their toasted finish.
Delicious for an evening like tonight.
Cheers, sir.
Delicious for an evening like tonight.
Cheers. We have Blake in the booth. He's got his Saints hat on. That's all we can see from here.
Flagler, not New Orleans, just to clarify.
Yeah. Flagler Saints hat.
Right.
But we got to talk about our sponsors. We already said a little bit about St. Augustine Distillery. We have St. Augustine Distillery and Citygate Spirits. These two companies owned by the same group. Amazing job. They do an incredible job with their tours. St. Augustine Distillery was named #1 tasting tour in the U.S., and Citygate Spirits, their flavors are second to none. They'll blow your socks off. A couple weeks ago when you were done, we did the cookie dough.
Right.
You love the peach.
The peach is excellent. Excellent.
They're really just so good at making great flavors out there.
Because they're real. They're real flavors. They're not artificial.
Yep.
You know, a lot of that stuff you can taste in artificial flavor, not there.
And staying on sponsor row, Meehan's Irish pub. They be still your heart, Reggie. Reggie steals everyone's heart. That handsome Irishman.
He's just such a wonderful person and runs a wonderful business.
He does. He runs an incredible business. They have amazing food. It's a great place to grab a drink and just laugh with your friends. You can be on the upstairs deck where it has the best view in town. They have the oyster bar upstairs, the pub downstairs, and the backyard with amazing live music. So.
Yeah, in both downstairs, inside and outside. They don't have live music upstairs at the oyster bar too much, but that's okay.
Yep. Staying on sponsor row, St. Augustine Pirate Museum. Cindy and the crew over there, they do an incredible job. They also run the Colonial Oak, which has amazing music. They got a great lineup going on this season.
Yeah.
So appreciate it. If you haven't been to the Pirate Museum, don't cheat yourself. Get yourself over to the Pirate Museum.
And on a night like tonight, after you watch our show, go downtown, go to the Colonial Oak. It's a beautiful night for it.
They got live music over there tonight.
Beautiful night for it.
All right, Abear Kresge and Associates. We just finished tax season. If you didn't use these guys, you made a mistake. But if you filed for that extension and you're like, I might need to, give them a call. Abear Kresge and Associates, the best in town. All right. You guys ate lunch here today. I'm going to let Lenny, you take this one. Kaiser's.
It was delicious. Kaiser's Deli and Market, 4 White Street on Anastasia Boulevard. Now open for breakfast Tuesday through Sunday. Great egg sandwiches. 2 eggs, cheese, meat of your choice. Local coffee. Again, one of the nice things about Kaiser's is he works with local purveyors for things. So you got Screaming Peacock Coffee, which is a local coffee roaster. Coffee's really good. And, your sandwiches, you can order off of the special sandwich menu, or you can craft your own. We recommend the Bollox, mostly because it annoys.
Has our name on it.
Right, exactly. It's a good sandwich, too. Turkey, bacon, tomato, ranch dressing. Press it up, toast it up. His bread toasts up beautifully, brought into the store fresh every day. Or try something on a focaccia. He's got a beautiful...
What'd you call me?
Mr. Focaccia.
Focaccia?
Mr. Focaccia, for you.
Focaccia, you.
Yeah, never mind. Don't get into a mispronunciation with an Italian. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you need. I think the meaning of that word is not what you think it means.
I keep saying that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
But yeah, go to Kaiser's. Breakfast, lunch, closed on Mondays, but the other 6 days, he will take care of your needs. You're looking for catering. You're looking for a sandwich for an office. You're looking for a platter of sandwiches to thank somebody in office or to treat your staff, more importantly. You got a hard-working office staff, get them a platter of sandwiches from Kaiser's. I've done that for my doctor's office. They take good care of me, keep me alive. Every now and again, I'll send them a platter of sandwiches and Trust me. Then they warm up things before they put them into you. It works out a lot better that way.
Yeah, they're all of a sudden much more gentle.
Exactly.
All right, Anastasia Miniature Golf. This is our newest sponsor.
Putt.
If you're wondering where it is, it's right there on Anastasia Boulevard. It's the one with the pirate ship.
Yep.
Is what Maeve would call it.
Okay.
It's the one with the pirate ship, and they do an amazing job. They recarpeted. They have beer and wine there. Just a fun night out with the family.
Soft serve ice cream.
Soft serve ice cream.
Very key. Very key.
So give them a chance over there at Anastasia Miniature Golf. All right, Coquina Coast Realty, give me a call. You have any residential or commercial needs, or if you just want to talk real estate with me, I'm pretty good at talking.
That's true.
I don't.
Hence, you make a living out of it.
Yeah,
one of your livings.
This is show number 3 today.
There you go.
But give me a call 904-669-7901. So,
Sounds
all right.
good.
So we have some word origins.
We do.
And we're talking about cartoons today. Mm-hmm. And when I was watching cartoons, I always had my head in the clouds.
Okay.
All right. So how far back do you think that term goes?
Ancient Greece.
Ancient Greece? Not quite that far.
Ancient Rome.
It went back to the 1600s.
Oh, that's way sooner.
It was
way
practically yesterday.
Okay.
So it went back to the 1600s when balloons started to come into play.
Okay.
All right. And it was, if you could get distracted or got wandered off or something like that, it was said you have the head in the clouds. It's one of those terms that still means what it means today. And it started showing up in writing in the mid 1600s.
Okay.
So,
I'm liking that one. I
Yeah.
spent a lot of time up there.
yeah. So it came from ballooning
Okay.
and having your head in the clouds.
And that was,
well before airplanes.
Literally.
Yes.
Literally.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I went with Weekend Warrior.
Weekend Warrior.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I consider those the National Guard guys.
Well, that's the true definition of a weekend warrior, because the National Guard, when you join the National Guard, you train on one weekend a month. So you're literally a weekend warrior. But it's become colloquially to be people who don't necessarily have specific skills, who do things on a weekend, like you're doing house projects on a weekend, you're a weekend warrior. But also it evolved from people who didn't exercise during the week and tried to cram in their week of exercise in one weekend or in a couple of days. It's also a term.
Weekends are definitely not for exercise.
No, and they shouldn't be for worrying.
Yeah, or any type of worrying.
That's exactly right. So that's where it came from, and the term kicked about starting about the 1930s. It became part of the lexicon. So that was that.
Did it start with the military, or was it?
Well, that's the actual accurate literal definition of a weekend warrior is somebody who goes and trains during the weekend, and that's where it started. I tried to follow a citation and I couldn't get anything further than it was in a film or a book called Aeroplane, but it's AERO. So it was a very confusing citation, and I couldn't get anything further than that. And that was from the 30s, started getting written down in the 40s and 50s. And nowadays it's, anybody who goes out there with their hedge clippers to fight the weeds, or, I was thinking in terms of the Florida Man game. There are a lot of weekend warriors in the Florida Man games this season.
Yeah.
That's where they were coming out.
Yeah, but there was some big training going on in that.
Well, and I think there's teams that are working on it now for next year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
Boy.
Hopefully they make the cut, because, there's going to be
Competition,
I'm sure there's going to be more applications next year.
Especially people now have a frame of reference because they saw how it went.
Yeah, so there's going to be people that might not make the cut.
Yeah.
So.
And the smart teams will tailor their participants to each event. So you have somebody who's good at chugging pork, another one who's good at chugging beer, another one who's good at chugging like a train to drag the bicycles and the catalytic converters.
Yeah. They learned a lot. You were at a definite disadvantage in the Florida Man games if you were the first one to go with the bicycles.
Yeah.
Because the second guy, or the third or fourth guy, realized, I'm just picking both of them up
Right.
and
I
running.
don't have to pedal. Right.
Yeah, just picking them up and running.
Right.
So.
Well, but then it's not inconceivable that the rules can be tweaked to insist that you need to pedal one and hold the other one as you're pedaling, because as we talked about, I think that one came from, and it was you who was talking about, you're in Florida when you see somebody riding a bicycle and he's got another one with him that he's dragging along with him and he just stole. Right.
Yeah, he definitely just stole that
right.
bike.
So
yeah.
So I think Pete may need to tweak some of the rules a little bit.
Yeah, nah. Well, we'll find out. We might tweak them as we go.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened last year
On the other hand, it is Florida.
when that New Yorker cut the pool.
It's apparently New York plates. It could have been a rental car. And was that confirmed New York or was it New Jersey? I heard after a while that it might have been Jersey plates. Makes more sense.
I think it was a New York plates and might have been a New Jersey person.
There you go. Oh, that covers all the bases.
That completely covers it.
That's
so.
it. On the other hand, it is Florida man, so rules.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Rules in a knife fight.
Exactly. I don't know if you've ever seen the two reactions of the golfers that walk up on an alligator.
No.
There's one of them that walks up on an alligator and it'll say like Navy. 'Cause Navy and Army always bust on each other.
Yeah.
And the Navy guy and he goes and sees the alligator, and then the next one says like Army guy or Marine, and he goes up and slaps the alligator on the ass. So that's kind of like Florida man.
Yeah.
How we look at the rest of the world. They all jump from alligators, and we're like,
Right.
yeah.
Good doggy. Good
Yeah,
doggy.
yeah.
Right. Nice cat.
Sit.
Right.
Sit, Ubu.
Exactly.
All right, so we're talking cartoons today.
Okay.
And you, I think, went more on the villain side as the way
I did.
Mike
I
told me
stayed.
at
I stayed with
lunchtime.
my cartoon villains. Yeah.
Okay, you stay with the villains, and I went on ones that I was interested in, but I was also like, okay, that was kind of strange. So you want to go first with a villain? I just see initials over there, so I don't really know what you have.
Okay. Well, as soon as you're dressed for success and you're exemplifying one of my villains,
Okay.
Yosemite Sam, you've got the official hat.
Well, I can tell you this. I have a Yosemite Sam tattoo.
Okay.
And I have to think, am I wearing underwear, whether or not I show you?
Show it, show it, show it.
And the crowd
show
goes
it,
wild.
Show
We
it,
want skin.
show-
Skin to win. Skin to
All
win.
right. I'm gonna take another drink, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna show my Yosemite Sam
Okay.
tattoo. I'm gonna make sure everything's tucked properly.
As you accommodate yourself,
Yosemite Sam. All right.
he was one of the two
Rootin'
proponents for
tootin'.
rootin' tootin' snortin' shooting.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. One of the protagonists against Bugs Bunny, he and Elmer Fudd, another non-villainish villain, because Elmer Fudd was just too adorable because he was hunting wabbits.
Yeah.
As
he
opposed
he
to
threw walks at wabbits.
exactly.
Yeah.
As opposed to Yosemite
Wabbit
Sam.
season.
Right. You rackin' frackin' varmint.
Yeah.
Yeah. He went hunting for him. And the interesting thing is, now Bugs Bunny's been on for ages, but some of the other cartoons that I looked at, my childhood, they were on for 2 years. They
What
had
year
40
was
episodes.
Yosemite Sam? You remember?
Yosemite Sam came in, 1945.
All right. Which camera am I on? I think my head's going to be out of the frame when I stand up, right? Like,
He was number one.
okay.
Good.
I think my head's going to be out of the frame.
Then we can
All right.
deny it's you. Except for the tattooed proof.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone's going to be so proud.
Hold on, I don't want to scar myself. I'll take my glasses off.
Keep it on Lenny until I cover everything up. Okay, here we go. Look at it right there.
Oh, that's fine. You got nothing.
Right there. Can you see it?
Uh
All right. Lenny, that's not my only cartoon tattoo.
oh. Who else we got?
Speedy Gonzalez sliding into a base.
Ooh, me.
These are my drunk tattoos.
Those are your truck. I hate to see your sober ones.
Sober ones are great.
Okay.
Sober ones, I'm not embarrassed by or any reason. I don't.
Why
have
would
to
you be
hide
embarrassed
anything.
by them?
No, it's just those. I've had those since I was 19, 20 years old, 20 maybe 21. So
The color still holds.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
yep.
right.
But yeah, I have Yosemite Sam and Speedy Gonzalez. So I've always liked cartoons.
Yeah. Oh, well, believe me, I know. When we play trivia, you've always got a cartoon category in there that's
Yeah.
something from some netherworld of
Some random
animation.
random
Exactly.
world. Hong Kong Phooey last week.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you get the Hong Kong Phooey one?
I don't
Actor-
think that we did.
Actor
no.
that played in The Shining and
Oh
Chico
yes!
and the
Oh,
Man?
absolutely! Scatman
Yeah,
Crothers
Scatman
for
Crothers,
sure.
okay.
Yeah, if we did it with Chico and the Man too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew it not from Hong Kong Phooey, but I
knew
knew
it from the other two
from Scatman
clues.
Crothers. Exactly.
Okay, all right.
I like Scatman Crothers. He was creepy.
Because if you'd have missed that, you would have had your head in the clouds.
It's true. Trust me. Last week, Tuesday night, we didn't make anything. We were horrible.
Well, some of our main teams struggled last week.
I don't know how or why.
Morpheus struggled. Morpheus finished in double digits.
Yeah, and we were like 12th all of a sudden. We went from first place the week before to 12th.
Well, the girls from the Flu Fighters, there was only two of them. The other ones didn't show up. They had an exam that week. on Tuesday. They had an exam. One was doing a surgery, and the other one had a pediatric exam, and they were studying on their iPad. I said, like, as long as you leave it on that, you're fine.
Right,
No one's going to say anything, and make sure everybody can see that you're not looking up anything. And no one complained about them at all.
Nah.
But they were in like 12th place, and they got the final. They were the only team to get the final one right, and they ended up finishing third. So they made a big comeback. The people that finished second and first didn't bet.
Well, I mean, I knew Frankenstein was in the 1800s. I didn't realize it was 1818. I thought it was 1840s, 1850s. So that was it.
Mary Shelley.
Yep.
Mary Shelley. All right, so Yosemite Sam, was there something you liked about Yosemite Sam, or was it just what drew you to Yosemite Sam for this?
Oh, he's a gun-tooting, rootin', shooting, getting the varmint guy.
Yeah.
No, it was just cartoons I grew up with, him and Elmer Fudd, and they were two protagonists for Bugs Bunny. I got a third Bugs Bunny protagonist who chased somebody else a lot more than poor Bugs. And it's just a fun character. Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with both of his 6-shooters.
Yeah.
You know?
He never hit Bugs, that's for sure.
Nope. A very frustrated character. Believe me when he tell you. He don't shoot good.
Yeah. Who is his voice?
Yosemite Sam was Maurice LaMarche.
Maurice LaMarche.
Yes.
Okay. Very cool. So it was one of the few that Mel didn't do on that show. Okay.
Correct.
Excellent.
Because Elmer Fudd, the other Bugs Bunny protagonist in this instance, I'm hunting wabbits.
Yeah.
Was Mel Blanc, along with a cast of thousands.
Yeah. He did so many different voices. You ever hear the song "Fire," sung by Elmer Fudd?
Yes.
Fire.
Yep.
Wine in your car.
Yep.
Turn on the radio.
That was it. Yeah, absolutely. Elmer in concert.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to do them in my order here that I have. And
Okay.
Blake, if you can pull up the Great Gazoo.
Floating right in.
And the Great Gazoo was a character like the Flintstones was kind of losing its flavor, and it needed to have some little pizzazz to it. So they created this character, the Great Gazoo. There he is right there, the little green Martian that could provide wishes for Fred Flintstone. And only Fred and Barney could see him and the kids.
Right.
All right. So Pebbles and Bam Bam could also see him. But the Great Gazoo, when I was doing the thing, and I kind of liked the Great Gazoo, but I kind of was like, oh man, it's the Jumping the Shark before there was Jumping the Shark.
Right.
All right, because they brought him in for that last season. But I had no idea until today that Harvey Korman from one of my favorite shows of all time, the Carol Burnett Show, he was the voice of the Great Gazoo. And I had no idea that he was the voice of the Great. Do you remember the Great Gazoo?
I do.
Okay.
I do. But I'm laughing because, I don't know, it was a couple of weeks ago, I'm scrolling somewhere, and I caught the Harvey Korman in the dentist chair with Tim Conway.
Oh, where he goes numb, where
he keeps stabbing himself.
Giving himself the Novocaine.
And Harvey Korman did everything within his humanly strength to not crack up, and it didn't work. He was laughing so hard he was peeing in his pants when he was doing that thing. And Tim Conway just, straight face right through the thing, doing his goofiness. And Harvey Korman just couldn't hold it together.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was too funny.
But I think the funniest one is when they all are losing it, and it's when they're doing Mama's Family.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the two elephants that got their trunks stuck together, and they go to make a sound, and they go snork, and it's one of the funniest moments because you got Vicky and Carol and Tim Conway, and I can't remember the gentleman's name that would play on there.
It's Lyle Wagner.
Lyle Wagner.
Yeah.
And these three could not hold it together. And I read about that scene, and Tim Conway ad-libbed all of that because they did an entire walkthrough and stuff like that. Conway didn't like it, and they're like, no, do it like this. And Conway switched it up on the three of them, and they just were dying. So Conway to me is one of the most entertaining comedians, skit comedians I've ever seen.
Yeah, I can put him up there with Jonathan Winters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as skit comedians go, I mean,
Yep.
I can't imagine anybody being better than him. And I can tell you a person that I love in skits on SNL that was in the bad days, not the good days, is Bill Hader.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He just was, to me, one of the better skit comedians. Another one who would actually start laughing at himself.
Right.
So,
Did he do Stefan?
yes.
Yeah. Because he couldn't keep a straight face in that either, which is a good thing. Right.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He cracked himself up.
He knew what was coming.
Yeah. That's some good stuff, man.
Yeah,
when you
but
see stuff like that.
So
And it holds up over time. That's a beautiful thing.
a lot of people don't know with the Flintstones. The Flintstone was a primetime show.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily a Saturday morning show. It
cartoon.
later became a Saturday morning cartoon. And by the time I started watching it on the reruns and stuff like that, like on WGN and TBS and those,
Right,
when
TBS
we
for
had
sure,
when we
yeah.
first got cable, a lot of those shows were rerun and stuff. But a lot of people don't realize when it was a black and white first year that it was sponsored by Winston cigarettes.
Yeah.
And if you go to YouTube and Google commercials of Barney Rubble and Fred Flintstone smoking Winston cigarettes, it has them smoking, leaning up against the wall like the Marlboro Man.
Right.
But it's Winston cigarettes. It's obviously before, I think they banned it in 71, 72 or something like that. Obviously before that time where you could still advertise cigarettes on TV, it's Barney and Fred smoking cigarettes. And if you watch the old Tom and Jerry's, you see him rolling a cigarette. Yeah.
Oh, a cigarette. Okay.
Yeah. You see Tom and Tomcat rolling a cigarette, trying to be cool for the cute cat. So
TC, Top Cat.
yeah. So all right, who you got next?
Well, let's see. We took care of those guys. I'll stick with the Bugs Bunny theme. Wile E. Coyote.
Oh, you know what? I almost put him down because he is my favorite of all cartoon guys, and I'm surprised I don't have him on me because, I love a person who does all their own stunts. So I didn't know if you knew that about Wiley.
He did. Oh, do you want to know about Wiley? I have to tell you about Wiley.
Oh, let me hear about him.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, first of all.
Hey, Blake, can you sneak away and turn down the AC? It's like 4,000 degrees in here.
Yeah. It's under the hot lights. I'm ready to confess to something I didn't do.
I got some back sweat going on, which is not attractive.
Did I accidentally turn on the actual heater?
What's that?
The fireplace. Actually turn on the fireplace.
No, it's not on. I didn't turn it on. So that was a very good, astute question. But I haven't had that much liquid in me yet.
It's
All right,
early.
Wile E. Coyote. And also he created, he sparked Amazon.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Overnight delivery from Acme Enterprises.
man, he got that stuff there quick.
Absolutely. It was instant. But Coyote should have died. He should have died 341 times.
341 times.
341 times.
Okay.
And I think there were only like 49 episodes.
Okay.
49 cartoons. He should have died 341 times.
There's only 49?
Yep. In the second episode, titled Beep Beep, he suffered violence and was injured 20 times in that one episode.
That Roadrunner.
Gets crazier even still. He created 260 types of traps in those 49 episodes.
He was very crafty.
No doubt about it.
None of them ever worked.
He used 12 boulder drops, 11 catapults, 5 dynamite rockets. When he did
Where he holds on.
And he'd light the fuse.
Seems like there was one in every episode, but it was only 5. Okay.
Yep. 4 archery bow launchers.
Obviously. Necessary.
Surprisingly, only 3 anvil drops.
Really?
Yep.
I feel like there was always an anvil
Yep.
drop, but there was only 3?
Yep. Well, there were 12 boulder drops, but 3 anvils only.
Okay.
And 3 lassos.
Okay.
Okay. Of that, Wile E. Coyote suffered falls 95 times.
Okay.
He had a boulder dropped on him 73 times.
Okay.
He was smashed 70 times, run over 43 times, and was and smashed into something 35 times. He made the 2013 list of TV Guide's nastiest villains of all time.
Okay.
That's my buddy Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
And he was on only 2 episodes of Bugs Bunny before he and the Roadrunner became their own entity.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, and this is something as a child and when I found out in real life, one of the more disappointing things. You know how tall a Roadrunner is?
Not very, yeah.
Yeah, Roadrunner's only
Yeah.
only like 8 to 10 inches tall.
Yeah.
In my mind, a Roadrunner was like an ostrich.
Right. Well, yes.
You know, because it's perceived as the same size as Wile E. Coyote.
Well, when's the last time you saw a coyote standing upright, by the way?
Yeah. And do you think the car would have been called the Roadrunner if it wasn't for the cartoon?
Maybe.
Blake said no. Yeah. I mean, how many little short birds this tall have a car named after them?
I'm trying to figure out what car is the Roadrunner.
It was an AMC Roadrunner, wasn't it? It was like a little.
No,
it was a sports
I'm not
car.
remembering that, but
Yeah, Blake, can you pull up a Roadrunner? Actually, no, it was an actual sports car. It might be.
It was Plymouth.
Plymouth.
That makes sense.
Plymouth
Okay.
Roadrunner.
Sounds more familiar.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it had the
me
little
a sec.
bird on it. I remember the.
Well, I hope so.
In the emblem, it had the bird on it. So it was a pretty.
The cartoon bird or the real bird?
It was kind of the real bird, but it was more sporty than the real bird.
Oh, okay.
So it was a
Oh,
combination
yeah.
of
All
both.
right.
See, that's a good looking
It's a
car.
hard looking car for and you can tell the time frame it was.
Yeah,
Is that early 70s?
late '60s, early
Yeah,
'70s.
yeah.
So
All right. But yeah, that was my.
what year
my
was that
go-to.
one, Blake? Did it say
69.
'69?
Nice.
Okay.
That was my year to go to for Wile E. Coyote. Was just too much fun.
Oh yeah.
Poor guy never stood a chance.
I think one of the ones that I like the best is the few times Wile E. Coyote talked. It was when the sheepdog and him would cross paths,
Right.
and this was without the Roadrunner. He did some
Right.
stuff without the Roadrunner.
Right.
I mean, he was a creative guy, and they would clock in. They'd be like, "Morning, George."
Right.
Morning, Sam. And they would clock in, and then they'd go to work, and the coyote would try and steal the sheep, and the sheepdog would beat up Wile E.
Pound him,
Coyote.
right.
Beat up Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
So I doubt that those numbers are in there.
No, I don't believe so.
So he probably
this was just against the Roadrunner.
He probably took some beatings with that. So,
Should have died 341 times.
all right. And another question about cartoons: what real life human turned into cartoons was one of your favorites?
Real life humans turned into cartoons.
Ooh.
Do you have any in mind, Blake?
Was Johnny Quest a real person?
I don't know if Johnny Quest was a real person, but I was
think so.
thinking like the Harlem Globetrotters. They,
Okay,
they had
yeah.
their own cartoon.
Yeah, they did.
And then Abbott and Costello had their own
Gilligan's Island as well.
Gilligan's Island had,
Yeah,
had
sure.
their own cartoon.
Yeah.
Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, Yogi Berra. Yeah. Yogi Berra was definitely a takeoff of Yogi Berra.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
His
I don't know that the most World Series winning person ended up stealing picnic baskets.
yeah, but the celebrity of Yogi
Right.
created the character that makes it work.
Yeah.
Hey, boo boo,
Yeah.
gonna steal me a picnic basket.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan has his own cartoon series as well.
Really?
Did he?
He did.
Okay.
Okay. Good for him.
But I think mine was Abbott and Costello. I really enjoyed their cartoon.
I'm not remembering it well because I used to watch Abbott and Costello all the time, and still to this day, one of my favorite movies is The Time of Their Lives with Abbott and Costello, and it starts in the Revolutionary War, and they get cursed and they can't leave the property that they're on, and they're trapped there, and then Abbott was a bad guy in the Revolutionary War.
Hey, Abbott!
Costello was mislabeled as a British spy and was cursed to be trapped in the well that they shot him and fell into. And he was an innocent tinker. He was minding his own business. Of course, he did get trapped with a gorgeous blonde woman, Melanie, and comes back to the 1950s now, and all of a sudden, the ghosts are able to find or lead the live people to a mantle clock that had a secret
Compartment.
drawer in it that when you move the hands left and right and brought it to noon, the drawer popped out and there was a letter from George Washington in there that proved that they were not British spies, and they got freed and leave. Spoiler alert, and they got freed and were able to leave it. But if you get the time of their lives, it's a great little movie.
Well, I can tell you this. This is one of those situations where you don't really want to read too much about your heroes.
Right.
Because I was a huge Abbott and Costello, and I love Costello. But evidently, Abbott was the kind-hearted soul, and Costello was kind of the jerk. So you kind of, it's one of those situations where you don't.
Well, you wouldn't expect it to be that way. Right?
Yeah, you would expect it to be the other way around.
Role reversal.
And Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Lewis was kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
And he proved it late in life in some of his interviews late in life. I don't know if you ever saw. Like, you remember that interview?
That's why the French loved him so much.
Lewis was such a jerk. I can't remember who interviewed him, but he was just like, man, why'd you even take the interview? But Costello evidently just wasn't fun on the set, and it created a riff.
Too bad, because you'd think, you think short, fat people are jolly.
Yeah,
Obviously not.
yeah. Well, and what's the guy's name from the Three Stooges? Curly. Curly. He was a saver of dogs, so you got to love Curly.
Yeah.
So he was evidently a guy who saved dogs, and
I can't see Will Sasso now, who's a contemporary actor, without seeing him, because when they did the live action Three Stooges and he played Curly, Will Sasso is just too funny.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
All right.
Sponsor time.
Oh, thank you, Blake. All right, Anastasia Miniature Golf. If you haven't made it over there, make sure you make it over there. They have beer and wine. Wonderful place to have a nice little birthday party. They have a beautiful covered deck there. I think
on-site parking too.
I think it sits about 50. Amazing parking. You don't have to worry about that,
which is great.
Like I said, brand new carpet. Were you
by carpet you mean greens?
Yeah.
Fairways.
Did you call it carpet golf, or did you call it putt-putt golf, or did you call it miniature golf?
Miniature golf.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Blake, what do you call it?
Miniature putt-putt.
You call it putt-putt. I think I called it putt-putt.
Yeah. See,
where did you go as a child to play putt-putt, or did you play putt-putt as a child?
Not often, but we had par 3 courses where I was, which were variation on a theme in a swamp with water rats. So we would play par 3 more than miniature golf. There were no miniature golf courses in great proximity. The closest one much later on was in Eisenhower Park, a major recreation center and park in Nassau County. And that was one of those, no clown pirate ship, windmill type of thing.
Yeah.
That was ones where they were doing it architecturally, and it was poured concrete.
It was like real.
It was poured concrete that they developed. Yeah, real fake golf.
Carpet golf. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
So and that was fine, because that way you're going to putt and you're doing that, but there was no windmills swatting your ball away or things of that nature. And it took so.
You weren't hitting it through the clown's mouth. Anything.
No, and I will tell you, I haven't been to Myrtle Beach in 40 years, and maybe more than that. But when I was in Myrtle Beach 40 years ago, I was amazed at the number of miniature golf courses on the Strand in Myrtle Beach, and 2, the variety of topics. You had volcanoes, you had dinosaurs, you had pirates, you had spaceships, and each one was themed differently, and I think that's very clever.
All right. And I talked about not looking up and reading about your heroes. Don't go back to the places that made you so happy when you were younger.
Ooh, yeah.
Because you realized how low your expectations were.
Right.
Mine was at the boardwalk. It was on top of the roof of the boardwalk. Above the arcade is where the putt-putt golf course was.
What boardwalk was this, sir?
Daytona.
Okay.
Yeah, Daytona Beach, right where the band shell is.
Okay. Right.
There was an entire boardwalk there, arcade. You had the little people mover that went out over the pier and over the water and came back.
Okay.
But I go back there as when I was in college. I remember going there begging my parents to take me when I was 9 or 10. I go back there in college and I was like, this is the rattiest place I've ever been in my life. Why did I beg my parents to come here?
Well, because nothing had changed since when you were there.
No, they hadn't
That's the
improved
thing.
it
They
at
don't
all.
upgrade. I mean, where I grew up in Long Beach, we had a 2.2-mile boardwalk along the ocean. It was magnificent. And in the center of the boardwalk, there were carnival rides, the salt and pepper shaker, the big thing on the arm that would rotate and spin around.
I think we called it the bullet.
Yeah. So, yeah. There was a whip, one of the ground level ones. There was boats in water, but then there was also skee ball and fascination,
Yeah,
which was a ball rolling game.
it was at.
Yeah,
That's
that was
skee-ball.
great.
Yep.
Knish place. Well, all those
The
things.
little
are gone
water
now.
guns with the balloons and the clowns.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I used to love those. Of course, Hurricane Sandy, Superstorm Sandy, because it wasn't a hurricane, literally blew up the boardwalk. I mean, blew it up. There was nothing gone. I can show you pictures. And there's now hundreds of backyard bars in Long Beach built out of leftover boardwalk wood that people scrounged and used, put it to good use and memorialized stuff there. But that was it. My entire childhood, you'd go to the boardwalk, you play skee ball, you play fascination, and then if you were good at skee ball, you could get good prizes. If not, Mrs. Seidel, it was Seidel's, and there was a Mrs. Seidel, tough little lady, I'm telling you. And if you only had like one thing, you got punks. Punks were, I don't know if you're familiar with a punk. It's just sawdust and incense, compressed around a piece of bamboo stick, and you would light it. Great for getting rid of mosquitoes and stuff like that. But that was your low entry. You had one ticket, you get 3 punks. Have a nice
like
day.
having a sparkler. Or
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. But we also need to talk about our whiskey purveyor,
Oh yes.
because I don't think we got up to them right now.
No, we never got past Anastasia Miniature
Well,
Golf.
it's because we got tangent.
Yep, well, we're working. That's what we do. Coquina Coast Realty, give me a call, 904-669-7901, any of your real estate needs. Ask for Troy. All right. Kaiser's Deli and Market, you guys ate there today.
Go, baby, go,
wonderful,
baby, go,
wonderful
baby.
place. They have a great little market there, wonderful food. Kurt, he's okay.
But the breakfasts are good, and Julia's fabulous.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got good
yeah,
staff there.
yeah, he's a maniac.
But he doesn't dance like one, which is good.
No, but he wears a leotard sometimes.
That's true. Yeah, you should see him when he pours the water on himself and bends himself
Oh
back.
yeah, with all right. St. Augustine Pirate Museum. They have over 800 original artifacts.
Love that place.
Stop in there. Make sure you go see them. Tell them that you saw it on Bollox and they made you come.
Right. All our
Cindy and that
sponsors
entire
mention us.
crew, just amazing and so thankful. They've been with us the entire time. Abear Kresge and Associates, just the best accountants in town. If you hate money, don't call them. All right.
Yeah. And when you go to Kaiser's, you go play miniature golf, you go to Distillery, mention Bollox.
Yes.
When they look at you cross-eyed like they have no idea what you're talking about, tell them you heard it on Bollox.
On Bollox.
Let them know.
Yeah, let them know. All right, Meehan's Irish Pub and whiskey. They're going to know what Bollox
Actually, they
is.
will, for sure.
They're going to know what Bollox is, and just great food, great place to hang out, great atmosphere, amazing staff, amazing ownership, and amazing location.
And I'm telling you now, we've talked about all the other food there. Try the key lime pie. It is by far, if not the best in town, it's in the top 2 in town.
Okay, all right.
I stand by that.
St. Augustine Distillery, we're drinking it today. We're drinking the toasted finish of their bourbon. Just so proud of these guys. Phil and I talk pretty much once a week. Just a good guy, happy he's in the community. Him and Mike have just made this, them and City Gates, just wonderful, wonderful parts of our community, and we thank you.
And when you're on St. George Street, you see people walking around with the little satchels with their
totes.
4 bottles. Yep, exactly.
The totes.
It's good stuff.
All right. I have one, and
What do you
I'm gonna do 2 in a row.
Okay.
All right, because the one I did, and this is the one that I was like, oh, this is probably the weirdest cartoon I can remember as a child. And it was called Mighty Man and Yuck. Yuck was a dog that was so ugly, he had to wear a doghouse on top of his head. All right. Mighty Man was like a little miniature guy like Mighty Mouse, but it was an actual man. Blake's pulled it up on the thing right there, and it shows Mighty Man. But Mighty Man was like,
Wow.
if he was sitting on Yuck's shoulders, he was like 4 inches tall. All right. But Yuck was this huge gray dog.
Never even heard of this.
And if he really wanted to scare people, he'd take his doghouse off of his head. He was that ugly.
Ooh, very Medusa of him. Turn people to stone?
Oh, he melted people, I believe.
Ooh.
But Yuck was the ugliest cartoon dog of all time. And I have Ren and Stimpy.
I'm thinking, yeah, exactly.
I have Ren and Stimpy on my list.
What was Mighty Man's shtick? What did he do?
Well, he was a superhero, and Yuck was his sidekick.
Okay.
What else? What else do they do?
What was that?
What else do they do besides just save people? Like, they have like any special powers or just?
He could fly. He was like I said, he was a human.
Like a
that
mini
was-
Superman?
He was more like Mighty Mouse.
Okay.
But he was a small.
To save the day.
Yeah, I'm off to save the day. Look up in the. Oh no,
Lake?
that's Underdog.
Right. Right. I was a big Underdog fan, too.
I don't have Underdog on my list.
No.
So, but they were only on for a year.
Okay.
Mighty Man and Yuck.
Gonna have to look that one up. Never
I
heard
had
of them.
to go find, and Yuck's spelt with 2 Ks.
2 Ks.
Not CK.
Gotcha.
2 Ks.
Gotcha.
All right. All right.
See, and that just shows you the difference in the 10 years in our age, the difference in the generation between what I watched and what you watched.
Yeah. My next one was a cartoon that was on air for 4 years.
Okay.
So it was on longer than Gilligan's Island.
Surprisingly.
All right? And it was Captain Caveman.
Again.
And you do not remember Captain Caveman at all. Blake's going to pull up a picture of it.
Never heard of Captain Caveman, honestly.
He was sometimes called Cavey.
Oh.
And he had a club. And he was also a superhero.
Really?
See his cape? I don't know if you can see his cape. Captain
Yeah,
Caveman had a
it
cape.
looks like he took Fred Flintstone's loincloth off and wrapped it around him. It's the orange with the black spots.
Yeah. But
Okay.
you don't remember Captain Caveman
Never
at all.
heard. To today, I never heard of Captain
Well, hopefully in the
Caveman.
comments you guys know who Captain Caveman. I'm not the only one, but I loved Captain Caveman. The Captain Caveman was one of my Saturday mornings. I'm eating my Captain Crunch and I'm watching my Captain
So what are
Caveman.
we talking, 1969,
No,
1970?
we're talking 76 to like 80.
Oh, I was already out of high school and in college.
Well, that did not stop you. I know how much weed you smoked at that time.
That's true, as a matter of
Saturday
fact.
morning, you had plenty of time to recover with some Frosted Flakes
Yeah.
sitting on a milk crate in your college dorm.
We did have cereal in the house.
What was your college dorm furniture situation?
A lot of cinder blocks and plywood. Well, you see, it was different in the fraternity, which was everything was reclaimed and recycled. I lived in the dorm for 2 years and the fraternity for 2 years. And in the dorms, they provided you with a bed, and you didn't need much else because there were common areas and you went to other places. And my sophomore year, I was joining the fraternity, so I spent a lot of time at the fraternity house. But when we moved into the fraternity, I mean, there were loft beds that were hanging by chains, and there were, one year I had my king size water bed was on the floor. Because
You had a water bed in your dorm?
in my fraternity house.
What?
And it made it very difficult to go to college
Was
when I
it
kept it at 98
was it a
degrees.
full size? You had
King
a full
size,
size.
king size.
You had a king size bed in college.
Oh, yeah. Beauty of living in a fraternity. I had a king size water bed
You
my
spoiled
senior
little shit.
year. Absolutely. And the
What?
best part about that is in Ithaca, it got cold in the winter. And when my waterbed was set to 98 degrees, I kept
It
it at
still
body
does.
heat.
It still doesn't at the
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was days I was not getting out of that nice warm womb-like waterbed to go up the hill to college. Not happening.
Well, as an adult, when did you get rid of the waterbed, or did you never have a waterbed after college?
I never had a waterbed after college.
Okay. Wow.
And
Blake, have you ever slept on a waterbed? Big Mom had a waterbed.
Yes, I did.
I don't know if it was if by the time you got around if you slept on that waterbed.
Yes, the waterbed still was around at that time. It definitely felt weird, but I mean, I do want to sleep on one again, but I understand, like, no.
Yeah, but the problem is if you crank that baby up, that heater up in the middle of the night, you're like just stuck to it. I mean, you're like, when you get in the bed, it's super nice, but it doesn't lose its temperature, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to
And
move.
it's worse if the sheets, it's a waterbed, so it's a king-size waterbed. We called it the lake. We named it the lake. And if the sheets came off of the corners, even if you were using fitted sheets,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, you naked flesh on
plastic.
the vinyl. Oh, man, you're exactly
You'd
sticking
stick to it.
Oh, for sure.
And you'd have that.
Yep. But boy, that was great. And then it was always, and then there was always a lottery or a fight to see who, as the upperclassmen graduated and moved out, underclassmen would come and start claiming rooms. And there was a single waterbed in the presidential suite in the fraternity, and then there was mine in the triple that I shared. And so the waterbed was on the ground. My roommate Ziggy had a loft on top of it.
Not a waterbed.
No.
It was a lofted waterbed. Sounds horrible.
And then Savs had the single on the other side. And then the common area, we had a couch, we had a refrigerator, one of those old world refrigerators, crank down handle, open it up. But it served the purpose. The beer was cold.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, that was not a bad time to me.
Waterbed in your fraternity house.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Another reason
That's
why I didn't go to school in the winter.
That's
It
crazy.
was too warm to get out of that womb, I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
No, and I can tell you, I have friends who were in fraternity. We didn't have fraternities really at Flagler. We still, I think, only have one over there right now. But we didn't have fraternities, so it never was even an option. I don't think it would have been an option even as a baseball guy. But I would go over and visit my friend in Gainesville, Chip, and I believe that could be the drunkest I've ever been in my entire life, and still conscious.
Okay.
There's other
and live
times
to
you've
tell
been
about
drunk
it.
and then you go unconscious. But we were doing whippets in the fraternity house, drinking. We looked up. We're like, oh, gosh, it's close to, you can't buy beer anymore.
Right.
And I think at this time the legal drinking age was 19 here. And we got there and it was closed. It wasn't closed, but it was just after the time. So we knew the guy who worked. We didn't know him, but like the other fraternity brothers knew the guy who worked there. So we threw like a $20 bill at him and ran out with like 2 cases of beer. It was, it more than covered the beer that we took. So I think that's the closest I've ever come to robbing a store in my life. I wasn't even carrying the beer.
Right.
I was in the store. I rode in the car with the guys, but I still felt extremely guilty about it.
Well, you were an accessory
and I was
before and after the fact.
And I still felt guilty about it. So, I would have been in equal amount of trouble with them.
Yeah, well, one word of warning for people doing whippets. Don't do a whippet and then try to run down a set of stairs.
Oh, I ran.
That did not go over well for me one day.
Our whippet story is the fraternity had a long hallway. So we would time each other after we did the whippet to run down and get back. And at this time I was a very good athlete and stuff like that. So I knew I was going to win on the time. Yeah, but
however,
stopping wasn't good. Yeah, so you can imagine somebody who could run a 4.3 in a tiny hallway on whippets, and I forgot to stop. It's a wonder I didn't just kill myself right there.
Smash yourself right into the wall.
I ran into this wall probably, 75% of the speed that I could generate. Yeah. And I thought I stopped in time. That was the bad part. I thought I'd stopped in time, and I didn't.
I am an adult now who have some of my faculties left, though my memory is fleeting. But I'm not a big fan of oxygen deprivation any longer.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good thing.
No, I don't think it's a good thing.
Yet I marvel, outside of concerts, Billy Strings the other night.
Yeah, they were blowing up balloons and stuff like
that. Ice, I'm sorry, and this is no disrespect for the law enforcement, but how blind-eyed do you have to be to a guy standing there with a tank filling them up, and they're handing out balloons, and how are you not taking these people in?
And I'll give you...
It's to save the lives of some of those people.
I'll give them credit. Saturday night, they made them shut it down.
Okay.
They ran them off, made them shut it down, and they're trying to get cars out, and they're like, You either go to jail, you get that off of property,
good,
because
these guys are right in the transition between the amphitheater parking lot on your way and the Elks parking lot.
That's exactly where
that little crotch right there.
That's exactly where they were at, and they were run off. They were run off.
$10 a balloon.
Yeah, they were run off on Saturday night.
Good, yeah. Sunday they were there, and I didn't see anybody chasing them.
Yeah,
and I said, you go to a Dead show. I mean, Citi Field. I'm going to Citi Field in Queens, in New York. Outside of the ballpark for 2 nights at the Dead and Company show. These guys are as flagrant as you can be.
Yeah.
And it's not subtle, too. You're walking around with a freaking balloon in your hand. Mm-hmm. I don't understand it. I'm all about back in the blue. But, guys, come on.
Yeah.
You can't turn a blind eye to something like that because somebody's going to get in a car. Somebody's going to get run over. Somebody's going to, go and have a freaking seizure.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you're talking 5,000 people leaving all at once. So, I mean, there's a challenge to the guys in blue, too. But
true.
Saturday night, they did. We were there and that we witnessed that.
Yeah.
So, also Saturday night, you joined us at the
very
RV.
Lovely. Yes, thank you. Yeah, good time to visit.
How was the drink?
Interesting. I'm gonna have to explore that a little bit more. I think.
Yeah.
I have to partake and pay attention.
Yeah. So We had a drink with THC in it.
Yeah, it's everywhere now. Apparently,
Yes.
flavored seltzers and
I
all sorts of stuff.
I think I drank my 3 a little too fast. When you saw me, I was a little
You were-
zombified.
You were happy.
Yeah, it was almost like the night we did the edibles here.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was very refreshing. I did get 2 more bottles.
Oh, nice, good.
So,
Got to find out where to purchase that stuff. That's the trick.
yep. But you know, the writers of these shows, and this is the one I think that had to be a little bit stoned when he created.
I think a couple of them.
When
Yeah,
he
go
when he
ahead. Who's
created
this?
these shows, and Beavis and Butthead to me,
Right.
I think 2 loner kids, stoner kids, but to me it was one of the best written
Right.
cartoons that I can imagine. I just absolutely love Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
So the name of my trivia team before I started hosting trivia was called the Fart Knockers,
Okay.
that's what Beavis and Butthead would call people. Oh, you fart knocker. and my roommate at the time, Blake's uncle Chuck, you know, we became the Fart Knockers is what our original trivia team was.
Nice.
So I had to have Beavis and Butthead in here. So
I just kind of wonder how Seth MacFarlane is wired from some of the stuff that he gets away with on his shows.
brilliant. I to me, his brain is so.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we did the comedians thing, I had him on my list, and I have him as our modern day Mel Brooks.
Okay.
You know, I look at him, his brain, and
He has no filters.
creativity, and where he's like, okay, I think I'm going to push it to this level.
Oh, yes.
Great interview. Anytime Seth MacFarlane's in with, you know, what's the Scottish guy, Graham Norton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, anytime he's on that show, because that's probably the only talk show I really watch.
Right.
But anytime I see him on a talk show, it doesn't matter who's the interview,
Right.
I watch Seth.
And the man's brilliant. He really is. And he's done so many things between Orville for the live one,
Yeah.
The Family Guy.
50 Ways to Die.
Oh.
A
In the
million,
West?
Ways to die in the West. Yeah.
That was just, I mean,
Yeah,
and
I'm
he
on
sta- and he
50
sta-
Ways to Kill Your Lover. Yeah.
and he stars in a lot of these things too. He acts in these things
Yeah.
too, and he's very good. But you know his mind and where he goes, and you know his use of language, and again, you know the double entendre and pushing the envelope is just fabulous.
Yeah, and like I said, I react to comedians who are on talk shows like that of how quick they come back
Well,
because I'm only funny if somebody says something to me, I
need a straight man.
I don't tell a joke well,
right?
but if someone comes at me, you've been in the trivia shows where someone comes at me
Yeah.
and I can break your soul.
Right.
You know, that's when I'm funny. And I appreciate people that are funny like that. And he's that kind of funny.
Well, that's it.
So-
You know, and I've said this on this show more times than not. Jonathan Winters, Robin Williams. You know, you get those. Don Rickles. I mean, going back
Yeah.
a ways.
Oh.
You know, I mean, I'm a Vegas.
But he had a lot
stand-up
of
guy.
misses too. I can tell you this. I love Rickles.
Right.
But Rickles had no filter. And sometimes he had a lot of misses.
Right.
You know, and
But
I
he'd take a
think-
shot.
I think the person that, as far as a stand-up and reacting to a crowd person, and I don't know if you ever seen any of his work, like when someone's tried him, because they stopped trying him after a while,
Tackle
was
him?
Red Fox.
Oh yeah.
Holy brutal. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you took on that role of, well, I'm falling on this sword tonight, oh, he could break a soul.
And if you saw him live, it was X-rated beyond belief.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, he had albums that were, you know, Tipper Gore would have, you know, wet her panties watching, listening to a Red Fox album.
What's the guy's name who died in the shower in Orlando? Sackett. Bob Sackett. Also,
yeah.
also a guy like you see him on Full House.
Right,
it's
who you wouldn't expect, exactly,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
like the sweetest dad, and then
Yeah.
you see him live, and it's like,
Yep.
yeah,
How rude.
how rude,
How rude.
how rude. All right, what
I
are
want
the
to
cartoons
get
you
one
have?
more in there. I got 2 more good ones.
Okay.
I've got Snidely Whiplash.
Oh
Okay,
no,
that's right. Mwahaha. Or as he would say, Curses foiled again.
I had
by
my
Dudley
Snidely
Direct.
hat on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nah, no. He wore a top hat.
Oh, yeah.
He wore a top hat,
He was,
Snidely.
he was the
prototypical.
Mountie, right?
Dudley Do-Right was the Mountie.
Snidely
Snidely
Whiplash. Okay,
was
Dudley
the
Do-Right.
was the
What was his wife's name?
well, Nell was the protagonist.
No. Nell was Dudley's girlfriend.
Correct. And who Snidely kept trying to kidnap.
And Snidely's girlfriend, was it Morticia or
No. He was
that was from Adam's Family.
right. I think you're confusing Boris Badenov and
Oh,
Natasha Fatale.
Natasha.
My next pair of villains.
Yes.
Boris Badenov and Natasha
Boris and
Fatale.
Natasha. Yeah,
Yes,
that's who I was going with.
And the wacky thing is the voice of Natasha Fatale was a woman by the name of June Foray.
Okay.
Her other voice was Rocket J. Squirrel. She did Rocky.
Rocky.
Yep, for years. Yeah, and again, this was another show that was only on for strangely a couple of years.
Bullwinkle.
59 to 64.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moose and Squirrel.
Rocky the Flying Squirrel.
Yep, Rocket J. Squirrel.
Yeah.
And Mortimer J. Moose, I think, was Bullwinkle.
Okay, Bullwinkle.
I think so.
Mortimer J.
I think so. But yeah, and at one point in time, because they were working for, depending on the show, either Mr. Big or Fearless Leader. Mm-hmm. And at one point in time, they were getting a little too old for this shit. So they told the Fearless Leader that they killed the moose and squirrel, and they went off and got married. Boris and Natasha did. Yeah, they got married and they lied and they said, "Well, we killed them. Forget it. Leave us alone."
All right, Blake. Before we get out of here, because we haven't talked to you anything about any of the cartoons, what is your cartoon? When I mention cartoons, what's the one that comes to mind immediately to you?
Oh, I mean, like my most popular one was SpongeBob because a lot of people related to it so far. Like there's still some SpongeBob episodes that I go back and watch. Yeah, it's very relatable.
Yeah.
And plus there's a little bit of Bluey because of Maeve.
Yeah, we watch Bluey a lot.
Isn't Bluey like a dog or something?
Yeah. Bluey's an Australian. We have an Australian cattle dog.
Right.
And our dog's name is Blue.
But that was because of Blue from Blue's Clues.
Yeah, it was from Blue's Clues, who's also a female dog. A lot of people think Blue from Blue's Clues is a boy dog. But Blue from Blue's Clues is a girl dog, and Bluey's a girl dog. So, and our Blue is a girl dog.
I see a theme and a trend here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, Australian. I can tell you right now. And Blake, you had a German Shepherd. I've had a German Shepherd. They're amazing dogs. But I don't think I'll ever own anything except an Australian cattle dog. And it sounds very snobbish of me, but Blue's freaking. She's.
Well, there's smart dogs. There's smart dogs, and then there's dumb dogs. Right.
She's different level.
Yeah, there's smart dogs and not smart dogs.
If Rebecca watches this, she'll back me up on.
Oh no!
On the blue theory.
Oddly, poodles are supposedly the smartest dog out there, which is a little disquieting because they're poodles. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing, it's like when you see a standard or a big giant poodle that stands up 4 foot high. Yeah. Those are kind of disquieting animals because you expect a French poodle to be a French poodle. You got this thing up here that you could freaking ride, and they're as smart as you are.
Yeah,
that's spooky.
Yeah, so.
But,
I mean, they that's why they bred them with the labs to try and bring up the intelligence level of the lab, which is probably one of the dumbest creatures.
Yeah, but they're lovable.
They are very lovable.
They're good family dogs.
Yeah.
The only problem is with all this genetic breeding and inbreeding of dogs is it does disservice to A, the breed, and B, the individual animal between the hip dysplasia and all the other problems that they found with inbreeding and inbreeding and inbreeding.
Well, I talked about that on Tuesday night with the Dalmatian.
Right.
With the Dalmatian being the carriage dog.
Yep.
And it used to run alongside the horses. They got along with horses very well. Run alongside the royalty horses and the carriages, and they'd fight off the packs of dogs. So the horses can continue. And they were a much larger breed and a stronger breed. And then 101 Dalmatians came out. They overbred them, and then they became a genetic problem with them being deaf, and they got smaller. Right. So,
see, just give me a good, solid, lovable Rhodesian Ridgeback, and I'm content.
That's a big dog.
Oh, yeah, I know. They're lion hunters.
That's a big dog.
But, because I was listening to the news the other night, and I think it was just either last night or the night before, and there's some neighborhood in Jacksonville, maybe West Jacksonville somewhere, or North Jacksonville, or other parts, where there's a couple of blocks where there's a pack of dogs that are just terrorizing everybody. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's like 4 or 5 dogs that are going around and they run the joint. Seriously, It's like a freaking gang.
They got to get that under control.
It's scary because, you think about when we were talking about the Dalmatians at trivia the other night and how they would fend off the packs of wild dogs. There are dogs that are, serious hunters.
Oh, yeah.
And you think of a dog as man's best friend. You don't necessarily think of a dog as a weapon or a hunter or a carnivore, and they are.
Yeah, no, they were tools.
Yeah.
Throughout lifetime. You know what? We're out of time.
Bummer.
And Blake, thank you for doing an amazing job producing there and getting those pictures up. Really appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed the show, please hit that share button. If you didn't enjoy the show, send it to your enemy. Maybe they'll enjoy it.
Right.
So,
and if you go to our sponsors, mention Bollox. Let them know you care.
Yep. All right. This is Bollox Talks and Tangents. We'll see you next week.